The green screen looks stupid. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Chew,
walked.
chew, chew, chew. Up early this morning and I was gonna work out before work, and then I like, you ever have one of those mornings where your mind is like, let's do this, we're gonna do things, we're gonna be a productive member of society and do some mental health and a workout. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Chew,
walked.
chew, chew, chew.
I had a morning like that today. I walked 2 miles.
Nice. Now, have you ever had a morning where that happens and then you sit up and roll over and your feet hit the floor and your body goes
Every other day except today.
so you stole my chew, 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 and instead I got your so
Yeah,
like
we swapped.
I woke up early with the intention of getting this workout in, because we're just, this week is insane with camp meeting and work and life and everything else. So I'm having to get up early to get my me time in, and my
Yeah.
body was just not having it today. So I got up this morning and I turned my computer on, and my computer was like, again, choo 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 choo, and fired up immediately. And I said, hey, you're good. You're perky today. You're gonna do great today. No issues. Programs ran great. I put it in sleep mode and it fell right asleep. And I said, you sleep today instead of shutting you down. So when I get home tonight at 9, you'll be right as rain, ready to go. And then they got home, hit the power button, turned to walk to get water real fast, and I heard it go
Not supposed to do that.
I was like, what is that? It's like a turbo diesel starting in the cold. What are you doing? And it just and I was like, I'm going to text Nick. It's going to be a minute. It was no joke. How it was 30 minutes, wasn't it?
Yeah, solid 30 minutes.
Took my computer 30 minutes to fire up.
Well, that's enough out of you. Hi, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of the Nick Squared podcast.
Where we complain about our 7-year-old laptops. But this is another phenomenal episode of the Nick Squared podcast. We are not going to get into what has happened over the last 4 months while we've been gone, because that's going to take longer than 30 minutes. We're doing a quick, fun, lighthearted. Man, look at I just throw that, looks like a filter. All the books, the ukulele sitting there, the high back chair.
Yeah, your actual house looks like a bath that most people would use on Zoom.
This is completely off topic, because everything we talk about is off topic. When the new baby gets here, I'm taking 3 months off.
I lost you.
Do what?
I lost you. You're gonna have to edit this out. Sorry.
Where'd I go?
I don't know. You're back.
Oh no. Anyways, so I'm not editing anything out. This sucker's going up raw. So I'm taking 3 months off of work when the baby gets here. I'm going to completely remodel the office.
Oh, that sounds like a nightmare. Have fun.
All of this is all getting repainted, new trim work I'm going to put up, and then that purple's getting repainted. Everything's coming down. I'm going to put a new ladder system on a roller up top that will have a U-turn in it. So, oh yes. It won't get done. Do what?
You're going to live the librarian life.
So when I first went to college, I was actually enrolled in library sciences, because I didn't realize
What?
Yeah, you've got to go to college for 4 to 6 years to be a librarian.
Really?
Yep, I didn't know that.
Somewhere.
So again, to study, and was like, I'd really like to be a librarian. And they're like, well, it's 4 to 6 years of college and you'll make $13 an hour. So I didn't do that. I got a different degree, and then I just built a library myself. So I get to be a librarian anyways.
Uh,
I just don't have to rent out books.
Splendid. Happy for you, sir. Speaking of books,
What a dream.
a lot of books came out today.
Are you ready for some drama?
Yeah. Give me the drama.
This is going to hurt your heart because it hurt mine. So today is November 7th.
7th.
Today is November 7th. So today is a Tuesday, and they decide to release books on Tuesday. It's what they do. And so Christopher Paolini decided to release his amazing book series, The Inheritance Cycle. He decided to release the first book in it in the illustrated format. So it's a big, like 12 by 12, I mean, massive full page artwork on what the characters actually look like in his vision. It's beautiful, stunning book. And my wonderful wife pre-ordered it for me last year for my birthday. Then he decided not only is he going to release that, like that's not enough, which it's already like a $30 book. That's not enough. He wrote Murtagh, which is book 5 in the Inheritance Cycle. It takes place a year after Inheritance, and follows a different character than Aragon. One of my favorite characters in the book, him and his dragon, Murtagh and Thorn, and their adventures a year after. Decided to release it same day. It's like $50 worth of books. And I'm just like, man, this is great. Then Rebecca Yarros, who wrote the best-selling book Fourth Wing, decided to re-release Fourth Wing in this beautiful holiday edition. Still got the black sprayed edges. My first copy of Fourth Wing is right there. On November 7th, same day.
A lot. That's
now
a lot.
Like $70 worth of books. Then she decided to release the sequel to Fourth Wing, Iron Flame. It's gorgeous. Same day.
Dear Lord.
Same day. But the drama of this is November 3rd, 4 days ago. 4 days ago. We get the notification that my books that my wife pre-ordered me are boxed, prepped, and labeled, ready to ship out from Books A Million. Books A Million down the street, Books A Million.
Yeah.
This is the 3rd. They said, we will ship them on the 7th on release day. You will get them on the 7th. As of 30 minutes ago, they are still in Douglasville, boxed and prepped with a label, and we don't know when they will ship.
No.
From 30 minutes down the road.
Oh, that's devastating. Are you going to be okay?
It made it worse that I stocked the books today and held them in my hands, and I know what they look like. And I really, if I was extremely wealthy, I would have bought them and then just had 2 copies or whatever.
Right.
But I was like, I just spent $50 on these books on my birthday when my wife bought them for me. I just spent another $50 on these 2 books. I can't spend another $50 on books that will come eventually.
Right. You already bought them.
Already bought them. I just have to wait. And then my wife pointed out, she's like, well, then why not go ahead and read Iron Flame while you wait on Murtagh? And that just made so much sense that it made me mad. So we're not talking anymore.
Right.
You ever had somebody do that where you have a problem and it's such a first world, like non-real problem that somebody points it out to you and you're like, you know what? You shut your face with your logic and facts.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Out of those 4 books, which one are you going to read first?
How about I start the Inheritance series?
For which time? For like the 5th time, 6th time?
The first one.
I
read Aragon in school.
You say first? Okay, you read Aragon. That's the first one, yeah. And then you read Eldest, and then Brisingr, and then Inheritance, and then The Fork, the Witch, and the Worm, which was like a companion guide, like standalone short stories that came after it.
In the future, yeah.
You didn't read Inheritance?
Oh, I had girlfriend.
Man, if only women would have talked to me.
I'm
People,
just video games.
yeah. When I talk to people about the books I read, you know, when everything last month went down with my father-in-law, my sister-in-law showed pictures of the library to one of her coworkers, and she was like, how does this man have that time to read with soon to be 4 kids? And she was like, a lot of these he read before he got married when he was just a lonely man. And I was like, you are not wrong.
Yeah.
Like, not at all.
I was thinking about the sheer amount of comics and video games I had. Like I had, you know, shelves upon shelves of video games. I have one shelf that's a foot long of video games now. That's it. And
I
struggle to finish.
I was actually debating on I wanted to move my PlayStation out of my bedroom into the living room because the kids play it. I don't. And they're always in my room playing it. And we recently got Hulu, so I'm watching King of the Hill right now because it's just as, I don't
That's
know.
good.
It's a good show, and if you live in the South, you know every one of those characters in
Yeah.
real life. You just do. And it just feels good. And so I was gonna buy a like a just a decent streaming like DVD player or something to throw in the bedroom so I could still watch my show when I lay in bed. Because I don't have smart TVs because that just seems weird. And somebody was like, you should buy an Xbox. And I was like, what? That's what I said.
Do you know who Phil Spencer is?
Mm-mm.
He's the CEO of Microsoft, and he said that he considers Switch users and PS5 users as part of the Xbox community. And I was like, that's crazy because we don't.
Well, the reason why they told me, because I guess there's one now that's going to be on sale for like $200 during Black Friday, like the
Yeah.
Series X, the one that I guess the one that doesn't have like the disc reader. um, and they were telling me about the Xbox Play Pass, where you can pay $14 a month and get
Mm-hmm.
everything. And man, I got hyped because I was like, all the Halos, Fable, all the
All of them.
Battle. Yeah. And I was like, man, yes. And he was like, look, there's 50 games per page, and there's 20 pages of games you get. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, choo, choo, let's do this. And then immediately I was like, I watch one episode of King of the Hill every night. And that is
Yeah,
all the TV time I get.
you get.
So that $200 Xbox is gonna play one episode of King of the Hill. Like I'm not really gonna play Halo. Like
Right,
I love the idea of playing Halo.
right. See, I play Halo occasionally. I have Game Pass, but I have it on a PC. Which my PC is better than an Xbox. um,
My
and
laptop is about as good as an original series Xbox, I feel. That's underwater.
beautiful, hard-working machine. But
It,
there's no reason to buy an Xbox. I cannot think of a good reason to buy an Xbox. A PS5 is going to get you better games. A PC will get you a wider array of games, including all the games that are coming out on Xbox. And a Switch gets you Nintendo games.
with that said, I would like to present this video's sponsor, Xbox.
We just both hold up for our free Xboxes.
We just love them so much. The other day, my door kept like closing because of the wind, so I put the Xbox in front of it.
Beautiful. Yep.
And the door just stopped closing.
That being said, now I will, to their credit, I think they've made the perfect controller. I prefer Xbox controllers over anything.
I remember the original Series Xbox felt kind of clunky in my hands.
The 360 controller, I feel like they just a good controller, man. The joystick's right where it needs to be. Oh yeah,
I felt like the joysticks were perfectly placed, but the triggers. You play
yeah,
first person shooter, and I actually felt like I was.
oh yeah. Have you ever played with an Elite controller?
Mhm.
You know, you can set up the triggers to just be hair. Oh man, yeah. That's where they. I think Microsoft would do a lot better if they made stuff like that, controllers, headsets. You know, because I just don't think that they're gonna. I don't think the console thing is gonna be sustainable.
Not when they're also running PCs.
Yeah, and
Like,
that's everyone that plays Halo with me is on PC.
yeah, I feel like you're playing against yourself, but a lot of my friends that I know that play casual Halo or casual Call of Duty or Battlefield on PC, they play with controllers on PC. Everybody now I know that plays any kind of competitive is playing on a keyboard. But yeah, I think if Microsoft made really good keyboards and good controllers for PC and just kind of went that route, makes
Yeah,
sense.
it would make sense. Um, what else is new in video games? This goes into movies. Um, Legend of Zelda live action movie has been announced as on the table being made. I agree. I don't think it should either. I don't think it should either. The I'm worried. This is gonna sound stupid. I don't want Link to talk.
Oh, but what if Nicolas Cage was Link and
I'd be
he
fine with that.
and he didn't talk?
Well, excuse me, princess. Like, yeah.
Oh my goodness. So somebody brought up a good point. I was talking with Anthony, um, and we were discussing how wonderful the new Mortal Kombat movie was, and I akin it to a delicious steak and potato dinner,
Hmm.
perfectly cooked, perfectly seasoned, but with a little bit of dog poop salt bade on top
Yeah.
of it, in the form of everything that wasn't the Sub-Zero Scorpion origin story.
Kept on great.
Oh, you broke up. What was that?
I said everything. If they would have just kept going with that, would have been splendid. I think if they would have just made that new guy Kenshi, the blind swordsman, movie fixed.
Imagine how cool would it have been if, in order for him to get his awakened power, he had to lose his eyes, and you actually had a loss and a
Yes,
character.
yes, right. Yeah, but you're a writer. They didn't use writers apparently, so
That is Chat GBT all over it.
yeah,
You know, it'd be good plot armor. Okay, how should we do it? Actual plot
well,
armor.
armor he gets from the plot.
What does the armor do? Well, it protects him. Well, that's okay. That's not too bad. And absorbs all energy and then reflects it back tenfold to their enemies.
That's Black Panther. No, it's Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. We're not going to put him in the game though, because he would literally never die.
Yeah.
But we were talking about it. We were talking about the all the remakes and Marvel's still just cranking out show after show and movies that nobody's asking for.
Loki's Loki's still good.
Haven't watched season 2 yet. I'm going to start tomorrow.
Still good.
But he made a comment. He said, nobody does anything original anymore. And I kind of paused I said, what do you mean? And he said, nobody does anything original like they did, these one-off movies back in the 80s and the 90s and stuff. And I said,
Mhm.
well, that's because that was all pre-internet. And now you have YouTube cranking out fan-made stuff. You have writers cranking out at new rates where you have millions of books releasing every month. You had
Yeah.
4 massive books released today in one day. You've got movie after movie.
I think that's interesting to think about because even back then, everything was inspired by something, right?
Mhm.
Now, think about what it took to go see a movie in the 50s, right? You couldn't take a movie home. You couldn't watch a movie unless it happened to be showing over air or something, right?
Mhm.
You had to go see a movie, pay money to go into a building and see a movie. And if that movie inspired you, you would move on and go think about these other things, right? And you would spend most of your day bored compared to what we do now. Boredom is not something that we tolerate anymore. So um, there was a good bit of quiet time, and when artists have quiet time, they create. Artists now have constant feeds of entertainment,
Mhm.
constant, and because they're just like us, they're on their phones getting drip fed content to the point. Do you think your mind even really, if you don't break away, do you have time to create something, or is
I
that become a rarer trait, and that's why we are getting so many remakes? And I don't know.
I think it is partly that, and it's also the gamble of it now. If you
Oh,
spend millions of dollars creating something that's an absolute flop.
there's no small projects coming out in theaters anymore.
Mm-mm. What was it? The original Blair Witch Project cost was like 30,000 or $40,000.
Yeah, it didn't break a million, I don't think.
Yeah,
And the
and then but it
and
cost. Yeah, it made so much. You couldn't hire a writer for $30,000.
no,
You just can't. I will say this as an adult who works, your average full time, anywhere between 40 to 60 hours a week, um, who has a spouse at home that I spend time with, soon to be 4 children. We've got animals, we raise chickens and ducks, and I'm supposed to be, if if I could, and sadly it's a double-edged sword, because while it is ruining my creativity and ruining my writing at times, it has also made me a lot of money by promoting my writing and allowing me to take pictures and get my writing out there. So I don't know what to
yeah.
do.
Let's say I think honestly there is a good way for this to. This is still in its infancy. This is a toddler. The thing we're on right now is a toddler.
Mhm.
And right now it's in the hands of very few people that are like, this has to be a money machine. And it has to be addictive. And eventually people are gonna want that to stop. And because this has, and honestly, in many ways, it already is the best thing that ever happened to humans. It
I
depends. Look at it, I suppose, but
I think that there was a time when the internet, pre-social media, when it was in its if it's a toddler now, then I would say at its birth, at its conception, at
yeah.
its origin, where we as a society and as a human race we stood before a fork in the road,
Mm-hmm.
and we had an opportunity for limitless knowledge and information at our fingertips, and true art and beauty and everything. And then we had Facebook. on the other hand.
Yeah, and just the most inhuman, unfeeling person at the helm of that.
And that is what I feel like this could have been the most amazing thing. College classes free online for everyone.
Mhm.
You know, I watched lectures from oh, what was that?
Khan Academy, that's what that is, in
Uh,
case you didn't know. But yeah, continue.
well, a lot of colleges, especially during COVID, began posting. COVID showed what the internet could be just a little bit. There
Mm,
was Ivy League schools were releasing full lectures for
yeah.
free.
Why not make it free?
And not only that, but then schools of performing art over you know in London and stuff were releasing their full productions of plays and performances for free every Wednesday night for almost a year.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful. And then it was, you now have to pay for this, and you must pay us $14 a month to get our subscription, and blah 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 blah. So I said, I think that yes, this was one of the greatest things that happened to the human race in a very long time. And then it immediately became, how do we make money? And how, you know, now you've got young people who are getting hurt because they are harassing people in public while filming it for views. Somebody got shot doing that.
Yeah. And he didn't learn his lesson.
No, he said he's going to keep making content. He's like, I'm going to harass this guy. The guy says, stop or I'll shoot you. I'm going to keep harassing this guy. Boop.
Now this is no promise. I don't know how many people are watching this video, but this is no promise. But I have an essay typed up about not giving a crap and what that means in pop culture and what it's done to us. That spans from starting in like the late 80s, early 90s, characters like Deadpool and the Joker, and how that has become, not caring about the rules and other people's well-being has become something that people look up to, you know. Like, I want to be like that guy.
I think that's always been, or not always, but for a very long time been a case. You know, you had people like Robin Hood that, you know, fought against the man for the betterment of the people, stole from the rich, give to the poor.
But he
Um,
had cared about this.
yes, that's the problem, is the care about the poor and the regular people side of it has left.
Mm-hmm.
And now, you know, that whole, you know, I want to, you know, skateboard and grind on this rail that's not mine, and you know, damage it. That mentality turned into a, oh, I'm gonna now break windows and loot the place.
I'm gonna make retail workers' jobs harder. That's fun.
Yes, that's very fun. Um, and it's weird because when people come and they will call and yell and scream at you, and I'm going to come up there and I'm going to show you what's what, and I go, okay. And then they show up and they're like, who was I talking to? And then I walk up and I go, oh, it's me. And they look up at me and they go, oh, sir, is there anything you can do, you know? And you really, there's not a screen between us
Right.
anymore.
Online, they're everyone's a tough guy.
Everyone's a tough guy online.
But that
Everyone's
everyone thinks that, man, I'm telling you, social interactions have gotten rough since social media because everybody just repeats what they say to have a gotcha moment.
Mhm.
And everyone says, no, there's only right and wrong, and I'm right, and you look like an idiot now. Or that's what they're after, you know what I mean?
That's a big mentality, is we cannot both be right. I must be right and you must be wrong, is such a just odd concept that is ingrained in people.
Yeah, and the algorithms feed it hard. And we're no exceptions. I mean,
Mm-mm.
me anyone doesn't know that me and Nick argue about stuff all the time. It's one of the best parts of our friendship. As
Very
that
much
he's
so.
my favorite person to argue with, honestly. Um, but man, you just love it when you feel like you made your point. It's
Well,
the best.
I enjoy our conversations because they make me think and they make me self-examine.
Yeah,
Where you'll make a comment and you'll be like, hey, and there's even times where you're like, I don't believe this, but for the sake of this argument, I will state this point, and I will
yeah,
have to stop and I'll do one of these. I'll go, and I actually have to think about something, and I have to go, well, hold on. Let me try to unpack that a little bit. And it's not no, no. Um, and and I know we started this conversation about books. Stephen King wrote a book. It is on one of those shelves over there. That recently came out called Holly. Follows Holly Gibney. She was from the Mr. Mercedes series, and from The Outsider, and she was a really cool character. She was somewhat supernatural detective, kind of had some cool quirks that made her, just a lovable character. And he decided to write a book about her. And then he decided to have it where this couple was capturing people and locking them in their basement and feeding them a very strict diet to essentially kind of cleanse their body, and then butchering them and killing them and eating them like vampires, but that would consume body parts, and then like their arthritis would go away, or their bodies would rejuvenate. Cool concept.
yeah,
Then chapter 2 hits, and we go on a 15-page tirade of how terrible of a president Trump was, and how all Republicans essentially need to die, and COVID's real, and if you didn't get the vaccine, you deserve to get it, and you deserve to die slowly painful deaths. Chapter 3 hits, and we're back to murdering people in the basement. And in chapter 4, and another thing about Trump I don't like. And it was such just
that's jarring.
and it was honestly, and you know me, I'm a big book fan. I was a big Stephen King fan. It was like he wrote a book, and then every other chapter inserted his Twitter feed.
Right.
And
That's the
it
thing. And honestly, politically, I'm pretty sure me and Stephen King line up pretty dang evenly. Um, but he's on Twitter a lot, and that's what happens to people that stay online a lot. They think that is these things are so important, which I'm sure the Donald Trump thing is a pretty key moment in our history. I think.
Yeah, I think a lot of it was one. When I read a book, though, especially fiction, I don't want to read anything similar to reality.
Exactly.
And also, doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on, in my opinion. I still want to try to give everybody decency and respect until you do
Yeah.
something to earn my disrespect, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, and just to bash people blatantly, and I mean, fear mongering, it was terrible. First book in a long time, I finally got to a point where I said, I'm not wasting my time with this anymore. I'm not even going to read the synopsis. I'm not going to look for the cliff notes on how it ends, because I don't care.
And
And then
it's one thing, you'd think such a good writer would be able to do this. It is one thing to drop some allegory in there for what you believe. Lots of people do that. But to just come right out and full on in the middle of your book say, listen, that's a bit rough. That just makes me not want to read the book. I mean,
even went so much as to name the Delta variant, and everything else had the same dates. I mean, it was just this is the last 4 years I'm putting into the book. But he released a cover for a new book that he's releasing, I think in April or May, that he said is like a sequel to Cujo, but with a crocodile.
is that the title?
The title, I think, is called You Want It Darker or something like that. It's got a big crocodile on the cover.
That's one of my favorite Leonard Cohen songs.
But I saw that and I realized, I was like, you know what? I think you should just retire.
Maybe. He might have another good one in him. You never know. I mean, when you put out as many as he's got,
Well, and you think, I think he's in like, his 70s or something like that. And when his books were, when he was poor, when he was going through some stuff, when he was going through addiction, when he was going through things that really gave his life a lot of the flavor and essence, stuff that was relatable to a lot of people, his books were amazing.
yeah,
Now he's old rich guy that sits on Twitter all day.
because he does write what he knows. You can tell. You can follow. He puts to paper what he knows, what he's living, and right now he's rich and online a lot, and that's what gets put in the book.
That's what he's doing. So as a huge fan, I will continue to enjoy the older books, but I have like I said, Holly has been shelved and will stay on the shelf. And couldn't talk me into reading it, couldn't talk me into finishing it. So it's the way it goes. But man, it has
Well,
been
this is going to be a controversial opinion. I think people in their 70s need to just back off and let us have the world anyway. So go relax. You guys go relax. We got it.
Yeah, that's what Florida's for.
Yeah, go to Florida.
Go to Florida. We got it from here. Well, man, this has been an absolute pleasure. Do you want to maybe try to do this again sometime?
We should start a YouTube channel.
We should do a podcast.
That's on there.
Hey, Nick.
Hey, Nick.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Thank you for listening. I've been Nick.
And I'm also Nick.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
How do I stop this thing?